Ladies and gentlemen, code straight from Bethany Lutheran College, your #1 ranked esports Vikings team. It's Coach Seth Grabo.
That was the most intense. I love it. That was the most intense intro ever.
I feel horrible, especially if any of your kids or any of your players are listening, because that study you made me read last week shows that they're very brittle mentally. They're very on edge. They got a lot of pressure on them about winning and teams and having, different goals. One guy's whole goal may not be to, not necessarily win, but just not embarrass himself. The other guy wants to win at all costs. It's a terrible, terrible thing, this esports team. I don't know how these kids survive.
Oh, I mean, if you read both of them, it's pretty similar to both sports, like traditional sports and esports.
That's what the whole study was. And this is the same thing. I think there's just this idea that quite possibly the difference between being, Kirk Cousins for the Minnesota Vikings and a 300-pound lineman is coming to crush your face. It's a small bit different than the possible injury you might get on an esports round where, my thumb slipped off the keyboard and it got a little splinter on there. You know what I'm saying? I'm just thinking there might be some difference.
Totally.
But on the other hand, a big lineman just has to crush other people. That's his whole job.
That's his job.
So it's all he does.
Yeah.
So these team sports, it was interesting. So I did. You gave me 2 massive studies.
Yeah, they're like 30 pages long a piece.
I know. Thank you for that. Man. Studies talking about how kids in esports, and it's new. So, these aren't definitive studies. There's one of probably 5, and thank you for giving me 2 out of 5, that have been done. But it tries to show what these kids go through and how that sport, how it affects these kids. And in ways, I'm just going to be honest, it was different than I would have thought.
Yeah. What surprised you the most, may I ask?
I didn't really think about, it is a team sport. I suppose if I spent some time just thinking about it, I would have come up with it. But the idea that everybody on that team has a different reality of what they want to get out of it. The team wants to win. Everybody wants to win.
Right.
But some of the 5 might realize that I just can't screw this up for my team members. So they're more thinking of, don't screw this up, don't mess this up.
Don't be an embarrassment.
Yeah.
Don't embarrass yourself, yeah.
So those guys are on the team. They might be very good, but they just, their thought process is one thing, and they have a nervousness about something. The other guy might be the team captain guy, if you will. He's the alpha male in the group, and we got to do this and do this. And if he doesn't make the game plan to win the thing, he believes he's let his whole team down. Right. So when you start looking at it like that, it's like all other sports in that way, I presume.
Right.
Everybody's getting a different look. You can go to the huddle and say, go Bucks.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's like, let's go Bucks, but don't let me screw up. Or go Bucks, and I'm going to lead you guys to the end zone. It's a lot the same. And I guess I didn't think about it in those terms. They talked about blood pressure and things like that. It's the same for them. They get into that game. Their mind is here. They may not know that they're going to get physically sacked, but to get shot out of the game has that same chemical effect on their brains. I'm done. It's over. There's, unlike my kids that play now at home. I got killed. Reset. Go again.
30 seconds later.
Yeah, in the esports world, there is no, you're just back in the game. So you're out, and we'll see if your team can do it without you.
Yeah.
Which is another fear they said in one of the reports was that, so you get out and your team can still do it without you. That there's no other way of showing that, see, we can do it without you.
Right.
Even in sports like football, somebody goes down, another person comes in. It's now not 11 on 10 because one guy went down, and see, we can win without you. Another guy comes in. You never have that complete
disadvantage or advantage.
Yeah, you're out. The only thing that would I think would go with that is probably hockey when you go to the penalty box and it's a 5-4 and you cost us a goal because you weren't on the ice. So I think there's some to that. But it was interesting. There was interesting parts to the 25 pages that I read.
Right. Well, it's an academic study. How ultra interesting could it be at some point?
Some professor said I got to come up with 25 pages, so it's like here's the headers, and it's like I'm not reading that section. But in all, it was a decent. It was enlightening. Like say, I guess I didn't think about it in the same terms.
Right. Yeah. It's. I think coming at it from like this psychological standpoint, it has, no surprise to me, but it has the exact same like mental effects as basketball, football, volleyball, etc. But like you said, the difference is that if you're taken out or whatever game you're playing, and you can't come back in, similar to hockey, you cost them a goal, you cost them the game.
And a generation ago, and it isn't even a generation because this is relatively new. I think they were talking about just in the last 5 years, money has become a part of this. In that some of these kids are saying, "Wow, I could make a living doing this if I'm good enough."
Right. Yeah, it's one if you're good enough, and there's obviously good players, but it's if you look at like streaming, like that's a huge thing, like Twitch and YouTube and Facebook Live and whatever other platforms, Mixer now with Microsoft. It's also a personality. Like you're a personality. You have an audience that tunes in daily, weekly, monthly, whatever. Make if you're playing Fortnite and you're Ninja, a couple million a month. Not a year, a month.
but some of those said that same thing too. Another reason that there's extra pressures there. You can be really good at it, but if you don't have the personality that other people want to watch,
right?
Now you're feeling like a scumbag, and okay, I'm this good, but no one cares about me. It's kind of like not getting it's the whole not getting followers example on Facebook or whatever the new Twitter or the TikTok-y thing is. Yep. No one's following you. It makes them feel bad about themselves, and they've done nothing.
Right now you've added the social media aspect to it as well.
Thank you, McKenna. I think those are for you.
Are they?
No.
Oh. The flowers were just brought in. I was like, what?
No.
That's funny. No, but now it's you mess up for your team or whatever, but now you also have the social media aspect to it, the pressures of being successful, being followed, etc.
And like you say, kids are on the cutting edge of this. I put your guys on this because there are how many teams? 800 in the country now.
Yeah. Yep.
And at some point, this blows up when the NCAA says we're going to make this into a sport. That can give scholarships and that sort of thing away. All of a sudden, there'll be thousands upon thousands of kids in this, like football or basketball. Like a basketball team right now, 5 on a team, and how many people play basketball. And then you get to those that will ever make a living at it, and that just shrinks like this.
Yep.
These kids are on the cutting edge. I think they see that, guess what, out of 800, I'm one of the best 8, 10, 100.
Yep.
And there's money to be made at that. I think these guys have more pressure now than I think the ones that will follow. The others are going to have to get better, but you live and you build on those things.
Right, yeah. Well, they're all getting a head start.
Yeah, exactly. Well, on the cutting edge.
Right, exactly.
That's why we have to get them the shoes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You showed shoes from Puma, right?
From Puma made esports shoes, which I think is the most hilarious thing of all time. You just need slippers.
Yeah.
You don't need anything else but slippers.
Yeah, I'm wearing boots right now.
You're over. So they're going to try. My point was with the Puma esports shoes was that everybody in the sports arena understands this is where this is going. They invented worthless shoes to sell your kids to get a sponsorship because the money will follow that.
Right.
I mean, that's just craziness.
Yeah. I mean, someone will buy it if you make it, right? You find your market.
Well, again, your team, let's say your team decides we're all wearing the Puma shoes, and your team goes and wins the national event, and they're all wearing the Puma shoes.
Right.
Every kid who thinks you're going to buy the Puma shoes.
Right.
I mean, they understand this is how this works.
Yeah, that was Nike in China 2 years ago with the League of Legends World Championship. They all wore Nike. Nike saw that. Weren't sponsored by them. They all had the same Nike shoes and they were all painted, and then Nike's like, we'll give you a sponsorship as well. See,
and this is where I trust you've gone to Puma and said, as one of the top 800 teams, we expect shoes to be delivered. Here's our sizes. Why have you not? And put an extra size 9.5, all right?
I will. I'll write that down right now.
Because as much as I saw of the Puma esports shoe, they would be perfect radio guy shoes. Because I'm sitting, I'm not doing anything. No, I'm just saying, it's a crossover thing.
I understand.
Yeah, it's a crossover. Both in a chair, I don't use my feet, and you've got a shoe.
Yep.
They'd be great radio announcer shoes. So when you order them and you get them from Puma, you just throw in an extra 9.5.
I will. I'll do that.
Okay. You say that. You're not going to. Why would you not contact them? You don't have a shoe sponsor.
I don't have a shoe sponsor.
That's right. You should.
I will definitely look into that. I'll come back.
Okay, good. And then to really make this work, you send Puma the email, the letter to Puma Advertising, Puma, and they got a whole division now. So esports team guy.
Yep.
You send a letter, and then you color and copy paste that to Nike, and you send it to them, and then all of a sudden we got shoes all over.
Yep.
All right.
And then Al's got a new pair of shoes.
Al's always got to have a way. Got to have a way of getting in. Okay, we got to go to break. I got 45 seconds to get to break. When we come back, you guys got anything to talk about? Have you done any esport winning yet?
Yes.
That's what I want to talk about. Why are you wasting all this time on a study?
You brought it up.
It's true.
You threw this in my face.
I threw it in your face. You give me no other person in the history of my radio career has given me an assignment to read and bring back when I come home. You people from college, you think that's all the rest of us want to do is read stuff?
It's not me.
We'll be back after this. I love it. Thank you very much. We're talking esports, all things esports. Want to get yourself in on these Puma shoes? Give us a call. Get on Facebook, Al, in the afternoon. All the coaches need the esports shoe.
Yeah,
we'll just put us down as coaches. All right, it's 3:17 at KTOE. Bethany Vikings esports team theme song, Umi's Pure Gold. With Coach Seth Grabo. How you doing, Coach?
I'm well. How are you doing now?
I'm doing fine. It's been a good week. I don't know why some weeks fly by so much faster than others. Since I started doing this 3 to 6 thing,
Yep.
I've gained 20 years because it's just my life flies by. I'm having so much fun.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming in talking esports, all the stuff everybody wants to know about esports. It's a joke.
Hey.
And not that we don't want to know about esports. That isn't necessarily what I'm talking about. But I don't think people know what they don't know.
Right.
Why you have shoes. Someone is going to have to, from Puma, tell me why you need shoes. You bought them comfy chairs to sit in, and their feet don't even touch the floor. 2 of the guys that came in here when I first met them, I don't think their feet touch the floor when they sit in an adult chair.
That would be very true, too. They were very sharp.
They just kind of dangle off. I mean, okay, whatever. Which is fine, but okay. So the guys are back. You guys are back from school. Is school started now?
Yeah, school started Monday.
Oh, okay. Did you play any matches over the week while they're off? Is it off as off?
Over the break, we only I just had quotas for them to play so much or stay up on the game because it's constantly changing and evolving.
But so how do they play? They just play buddies or
they just play with themselves for fun with friends, whatever.
Okay,
kind of a relaxing thing because we got pretty intense right before the break.
But you got to get intense.
Yeah, that is true.
You guys ended up losing the first match I ever heard of. You lost just before we went to break. That's not the way to go into a break.
That is true.
Yeah.
That was heartbreaking.
Yeah, who'd you lose to?
A McMaster University.
Ooh, we hate them.
Just the other side of Niagara Falls.
Hate them. Canadians?
Yeah.
Even worse.
Yeah.
All right. So we lost the Canadians, but maybe that gets us sharpened, honed, ready for the next mark. So they played a certain amount of matches out there. They come back on Monday. When was your first meet practice?
So our first practice was Tuesday against UW-Madison.
Did you guys get together on Monday for a coaches meeting or anything?
Yes. Yes. Oh, yeah. So, we had a 3-hour meeting, 2.5-hour meeting.
What the world do you do for 3 hours talking esports, guys?
Plans for the semester, things going forward, things we want to change, things that worked well. We had a whole couple-hour-long meeting. Yeah, and then
I don't think you should shoot with your left hand. What are you talking? What?
Well, just things we want to try. Like we obviously lost the game. Something didn't go right. So just
that's a good point. So do you study film?
Oh yeah, we have a VOD review, video on demand review that we do.
A VOD review, you guys? Okay.
You laugh. What's that?
Oh, you got a little nomenclature, a little VOD report. Okay, VOD. Okay, now I know that video. Okay.
VOD. Yeah. So yeah, we did that for an hour. Just some games that we lost bad, either guys playing on their own or the McMaster.
You threatened to boot the bottom guy out and bring somebody up. Do you do that? You do that?
So funny thing is, we had a transfer student coming from Brazil. So we are currently trying out him in 2 different spots. Just seeing how things go. We had batches this week. Just seeing how things go. Does the team sit the pitcher and put somebody else in? I'm liking this. This is exciting. So yeah, introduction to him. He's new to the United States.
Speaks English. I mean,
yeah,
comes from Brazil. Okay,
flawlessly.
All right.
Yeah. Hardly even any accent, actually.
Okay.
Kind of cool. His name's Paul. So we had that was Monday afternoon, and then Tuesday we were playing UW-Madison. We just played 3 straight up games.
How did we do?
With the first one we did really well. The second game we've constantly been trying new strategies because
you win all your games till 1. Now you're changing your strategies. You lose 1 game and you throw everything out in the bathwater. Really?
No, you just always need something else in the secret playbook.
The secret playbook. Okay, all right, fair enough. Secret playbook.
Pocket picks, we call it. We go from... So the second game, we tried some things, didn't really work out, and then the third game we went back to...
That means you lost.
Right.
Now you've lost 2 now.
Well, that was just a practice.
Okay.
It was just a fun for a practice game. We play UW-Madison. We're trying to weekly now as well.
Okay, then you're winning the third match, at least winning the matches.
Went back to our bread and butter and... did well.
I just throw New England Patriots out just because they lose a game. They didn't throw everything out and get rid of. They generally stay with the playbook.
But there are what's one thing I guess that's different from traditional sports is there's picks and bans. So they can ban some of our characters who are really good.
They can ban them?
Yeah. So we have picks and bans before. So the characters we pick, and then it goes back and forth, and they ban things that we can't
Just
play.
like picking a jury or something? You can just say, you got somebody you can kick out, and I got somebody I can kick out?
Right. So we look up all of each other's stats. There's a website where we can type in people's names and what characters they're good at and not so good at, and then things that we either feel comfortable taking on or we just want to eliminate completely, so we ban that character away. And
how many of these bannings does each team get?
5. So there's...
My God, how many characters are there? You got 5 guys on each side, so that's 10.
Yeah, there's like 200 characters total.
Oh, all right. And
So
they all
there's
have strengths and weaknesses or whatever.
Correct. And then different synergies between them. You know, this character works really well with this one, so you try and pick them together in a pair.
But the other team knows that, so they don't let you pair them up.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
This game is won or lost before the first flip of the coin.
Some of them are. I will say our second game that when we played McMaster in that best of 3, that second game, I wasn't too happy with our pick ban phase right before the game started. We definitely got outdrafted, as it's called.
Wow. Outsmarted before the game goes. That's not good.
Yeah.
And do you know that when it happens, or you're watching, and because I presume you don't get to do that, your captain does it? Who does the banning?
Our captain does.
So you're sitting in there watching, going, "What the heck is he thinking?"
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that was that was part of the talk, and that was our big part of our big meeting on Monday was talking about like we've always been, in my opinion, okay at the pick ban phase. Mm-hmm. We are very last minute. Like we don't think of things until the split second before we have to pick, and I want like actual concrete, like, okay, if this is our top priority, let's try and build around this, or if it gets banned, then what's next? What's plan B, plan C, plan D, and so on. So that was like our big thing. All the guys agreed. They said that was probably our biggest weakness, was just figuring out pick ban.
And then it's attitude. I've seen those guys. Now they come in here and I don't drink pop, whatever. That's attitude, buddy.
Okay.
Just saying.
But
Golden boys.
Yeah, they like the game fuel though. I guess that can be considered.
How is the team as far as growing? How many numbers do you have now? You got a guy coming in, so at least one more player this year than you had last. How many numbers do you have on the team?
Currently for League of Legends varsity, there's 6, so we've got the 5 that play plus our substitute, the new guy.
6, but how many total? You have junior varsity. I mean, do you call them junior varsity?
Yeah, JV.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we've got a JV League of Legends team. We'll start getting them going here next week.
And then do you have kids that just from Bethany that want to play? They get together, they fill in, they're not going out for the team. They're just there to help out the managers, if you will.
So we have a club, just like a intramural sort of thing, and they get together on their own time. We try and do something as an entire campus with anyone who wants to come hang out like once a semester or so.
Well, how do you draft? How do you find the next good kid to come into the team? My point is, like a feeder program.
Yeah.
How do you get a guy from Brazil? He just, okay, I'm coming up, and he happens to play League of Legends. Right. You find that out?
No, yeah, he actually reached out to us.
Oh, okay.
So there's that. I mean, we've got ads online and stuff like that. But some of there's a few select high schools in Minnesota that have really good esports teams, like either club or trying to get the Minnesota State High School League to
sanction it.
Correct. Okay. And we started with a group of guys, and now a lot of their friends want to come, just follow in their footsteps.
Okay.
There's 2 or 3 schools like that, so that's how we're starting out these first few years.
Is Bethany putting a limit on how many of these kids you can have in it? Are you, as just a quote-unquote coach,
right?
You get to 35, let us know, because then it's getting out of hand.
Right, yeah, like that's a discussion we're constantly having.
Okay.
Is, I can fill 3 rosters of each of these just between 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
In a couple, 2-3 years, that's 50 students. That'd be 50 new students to Bethany specifically for esports.
Time to pay up, Bethany. Yeah, and put a little cash down. time to pay the piper.
So that's always conversations.
University of Minnesota just paid a coach $17 million. I'm just throwing that out there.
Congratulations, PJ Flash.
Yeah, and I'm not saying he's not worth it. I'm just saying, wow, there's money out there if you're doing well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
Well, okay. Nothing. You don't have. Sometimes you don't have to respond. I'm just setting it up. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Bethany or everybody in the halls of Bethany listen. I have no idea. But if they do,
they do.
Do they?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Oh, really? Okay, that's good.
I get an email, a phone call, or they pass by in the hall and mention something to me. They think this is really fun.
Well, it is really fun.
Yeah, it is.
You've been fantastic. So you had the second match. How'd you do on that?
That was Boise. We played Thursday against Boise State as we always do, and tried a bunch of new strategies. And one went really well, one not so well. So it's just trying to expand our playbook, if you will.
Sounds good. You talk too much about that whole study you gave me. We ran out of time. Can I get you back next week?
Of course.
I love it. It's Seth Cravo, esports guy extraordinaire here in the entire Midwest region. Mm-hmm. Say that way, University of Minnesota, because they really we should talk to that guy. All right, see, always helping a guy. Always helping a brother out. It's 3:30. Got time for news, sports, and weather. We'll get Seth back again next week. Find out what's going on up there. This is Umi in Pure Gold. It's their fight song. I want to work on the fight song too.
Yeah, I'll write one.
Umi, just not all that scary. It's 3:30. KTOE.